My yaya used to say all the time, everyone has a story. Just like that. And she's right. That's the truth. Everyone does have a story. And the ones I want to hear and learn from are the discoveries of self and those journeys. So I invite you. My name is Sophia. Welcome to Soul Journey Talk. Welcome everyone to Soul Journey Talk Season 1, Episode 3. This is our fall equinox taping. So I want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Today it will be me. You will hear my story. So the question that I always ask my guests is, what has been your soul's journey that has led you to this moment in your life? So that's a loaded question. And I know that both of my guests that I've had this season, had to think about that. And so I've done a lot of thinking as well regarding that. And I believe, it's more than a belief. I know that I am a soul and I'm here, a spiritual being having human experiences. I believe at this time in my life that we come back again and again and again to learn lessons, sometimes with the same souls and sometimes with new souls. We make contracts. We make a soul contract with ourselves. We make soul contracts with other people. So this is my knowing. This is my belief in my knowing, which I'm very happy to share with you today, my story. So I thought about that, and I have to go back to the earliest memory that I had, that we're hearing birds. What I wanted to share with you, when I was very, very young, I had a beautiful dream where I was wearing a white dress and I was flying in the sky with these beautiful big white birds. And it felt very real, this dream. And we were flying in the sky, and I was flying between the clouds and the blue sky, and it was just beautiful. And I remember looking down at myself sleeping in my bed, like through the window, almost like through the ceiling. And I turned to the big bird and I say, do I have to go back? And it was a male bird, and he says, yes, you do. You have to go back. And he kind of laughed and chuckled at me. He's like, you've got lots to do. I was like, okay, I'll miss you. And before you know it, I was like back in my body, and I remembered the dream very vividly, exclamation point there. And it was just beautiful. And that is my first account of pure joy. I have to say, that is my first memory of pure joy. And I was young, 6, 7, I don't know, something like that. And, when we're kids, we grow up, we're just always involved. We either are in our own little world and, in our own little like fantasies or making up stories. And I used to always write in my diary, once upon a time, there was a princess that lived in a castle. I used to do that. And I used to also write poetry, like lyrics, or poems that would be song lyrics. And but that dream is my first like memory of pure joy. And when I was a little girl, around 4 or 5 years old, my mom played piano. She was a beautiful pianist, and she taught me and my twin sister how to, read music and play piano. So music became like a passion of mine, which it still is. And this is what I do today. I teach piano and voice. So that was such a blessing, those seeds that were planted in me at such an early age for music. That was the most beautiful gift and blessing that my mom ever gave me. And my dad loved to sing, and I learned a lot of lessons with them. I was born, baptized, and raised a Greek Orthodox, and in the Greek Orthodox Church. And I was very happy to be a part of that kind of community and have that kind of upbringing where culture was very much involved. I was in the Greek Orthodox Youth Association, and I learned all the Greek style folkloric dances, and we did Greek school. Greek school is a thing. That is such a thing. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 4 to 6 at Hagia Sophia here in Miami. And that was my life growing up. And I went regular school. I went to Catholic school, believe it or not. So it was like I was in between two different religions in my life, which is very interesting, because most of my friends were Cubans, American Cuban, and Puerto Rican, and as I got older, from different beautiful Latin American countries. And so I had a great understanding of the culture, the Catholic religion, and it was served as a blessing for me because I had great respect for their ways and their customs and their beliefs. And so that was a beautiful thing too, growing up in the Catholic school. And I went to public school later, and I was a very shy teenager, believe it or not. And just growing up, I turned to music. I loved singing. I think I was singing from the womb. I would always say that. I was singing from the womb, and music, just learning how to play some piano and learning how to read some music was a beautiful gift that helped me to pursue that later on in life. There were ups and downs, good times, bad times growing up. I am a survivor of domestic violence and abuse, and I survived that. I was very much a child that was in like my little world, and I guess that's what saved me from the great pains of living in daily life, great pains. I also had a very happy disposition growing up. I still do. That's just the way I was born. And I always tried to see things from the bright side. And, but those were a lot of memories that just as there are many beautiful, great memories growing up, there are some very bad and ugly ones too. And I've learned how to accept all of that. I have put a lot of forgiveness to that. When I was 16 years old, we had a family event, and I mean, it's not my story to tell, but we had a family event, and for the first time in my life, I got to see my parents as people, not just mom and dad. And so that put a different perspective on a lot of things, and I started to learn more about, the way they grew up, and I was able to forgive them for that type of ugly and bad behavior. And that was freedom in a way. But I did find that through the years, I had to continue to do that. And it was definitely an experience and a half. Constantly being kind and sweet, forgiving the outbursts, or maybe words that were spoken that were not really, positive and nurturing. But at the same time, I love them. They were my parents, and my siblings love them too. And it's been an experience growing up in this family. Forgiveness has been a theme for me with my family. Self-respect, self-love, self-worth became a theme for my personal relationship and with a couple of my friends. And all of these beautiful lessons and discoveries really started to happen in 2011 for me. I was 39 years old, and I met a beautiful soul where I was teaching. I was teaching dance at Scarlet Center Stage, and I met this beautiful soul. She brought her daughter in to take flamenco, and she opened this beautiful spiritual door for me. And it started with archangels and goddesses, and it just went like that, just started from there. My eyes opened up. I learned about Dr. Brian Weiss, and I read his book, Many Lives, Many Masters, and that changed my life completely. So 39 years of life, of, the birds are still chirping with me. The 39 years of life of just kind of like going through the motions, being aware of certain things, having certain wisdoms, learning certain lessons, but kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I just couldn't figure out why. Why do I have to keep forgiving for the same thing? Why do these things keep happening to me? And soon my eyes opened up, and I was told by this beautiful soul, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. And that was a big, like, mind-blowing moment for me. That was my first spiritual lesson, really. And it enabled me to say things from a different perspective, because I was seeing myself as a victim as opposed to a survivor, as opposed to someone that experienced something, and this was for me. And there are lessons to be learned, and how do we go about doing that? And it taught me to even be more compassionate and more empathetic, more understanding. It's easier to forgive and to put peace to things, but it took time. I remember that I had to write a long letter to my parents. We were estranged at the time, and not of my choosing, but we were estranged at the time. And writing that letter was so healing for me. I just was able to write out all my pains and my hurts. And it was beautiful. And it was hard. And it was painful and emotional. So I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it. But it was so necessary. And I was able to face myself too. This beautiful journey has allowed me to look in the mirror and see the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful of me. And that's really what my journey has been. And, and it starts from the home. It really, really does. And when I did that, after I actually was able to do that on a little trip that I took just for me, it was the most healing, soulful thing I did for myself. And I was already 40 years old. I had just turned 41. So this was like a year and a half after this beautiful experience, so this beautiful spiritual door that this beautiful soul had opened up for me. And I remember I went to St. Thomas on a vacation. I spent like just not even a week, a few nights, a few days, and I just kept going to the ocean. I just kept going to the ocean. And I would just, heal. I would just be in the present moment. That is so hard for me, even till this day, to just be in the present moment. But I forced myself to do that. I brought books to read, for like self-help, spiritual awakening books to help me to stay in the present moment and to focus on the purpose of why I was there. It was so beautiful. It was just a beautiful experience. I will never forget. I will always remember that trip. That trip really helped me to make the steps forward in really walking the path of a spiritual being having human experiences. Because I was able to do the healing regarding my childhood and upbringing. It's emotional because I'm feeling the gravity of that right now. As an empath, that happens. And that was real. That was really a real thing. And I was able to call my parents up and reconnect with them. And slowly but surely, we were able to really have a beautiful relationship. And I got to really enjoy my parents. We didn't live in the same town, but we lived in the same state. So I was so grateful for that. that I could at least, rent a car and go see them. And when I finally got a new car in 2019, I was able to just go and see them more often. And that was such a blessing, and share more memories with them. And my grandmother, my yaya and my mom and my dad, they're the three people that raised me. And between 2020, through 2021, the very beginning of 2021 and 2023, they all made their transitions. And so I feel that they are still with me to this day. Whew, I'm so sorry for getting emotional. This is Soul Journey Talk. But there's still pains that need to be healed. I know that. But at the same time, I am so grateful because everything is for me. I'm still in the process of healing a lot of things. But going through the journey that I went through really helped me. Going back to Dr. Brian Weiss, that book changed my life. Then I went and I started reading other books. I believe Don't Hold Me to It, Through Time into Healing, something like that. And that was beautiful, a beautiful book about people sharing their experiences of traumas or relationships that weren't working out within their families, either with their children or their spouses, or friends, even ailments, people who were suffering from cancer or suffering from heart conditions, and related to the issues that they had with the relationships that they were struggling with, that they felt there was so much conflict and there was a lot of pain and a lot of, discord, and just their stories and how they went into like past life regression and healing, and how they were able to heal through those experiences of past life regressions with Dr. Brian Weiss. And it just, made me even a firm believer that we come back again and again and again. Sometimes we, like I said earlier in the beginning of this recording, that we come into this life making soul contracts with, a lot of times with the same souls, to learn lessons. And my biggest lessons have always been through relationships. So some people's lessons are maybe like regarding what career path or what should be their life purpose. Some people's lessons are and experiences are regarding like their talents, or in the medical field, healing, being a healer, being a teacher, in writing, in even in science and mathematics. There's a beauty to that. There's magic in all of that, and definitely a purpose for not just for themselves in their life, but for others, leading to the collective. And what does that what does that mean for them? And everybody's life experiences is different. Our experiences here is different. This beautiful soul would always tell me, Earth is a school. We're here to learn. We're not here on vacation. And of course, I would always have, my answer would be, but I want to be on vacation. I'm tired of all of this, So I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel the same way. And I don't blame you. And I'm here to tell you that this is normal. But it's true. We're here to learn. We are here to learn. And Earth is a school. And this is why I want to be in Mother Earth, in Mother Nature, sitting down in Mother Nature and just, sharing stories, sharing the experiences, the discoveries of self. And this is why I'm sitting here. And this is one of my most favorite spots of my home. I love this tree. This tree has been an anchor for me, especially during the pandemic, which is why I am sitting here today in front of this tree, sharing with you my story. So going back to Earth is a school, we're here to learn, and I definitely learned a lot. And so I feel that my purpose in life, in my spiritual journey, my soul journey, is to learn lessons through relationships, whether it be personal, work, or random strangers. I have learned things just from having a random conversation with someone that I've never seen again before, since, on the train or on the bus growing up, or waiting, to do something, whether it's getting the tag for your car or going grocery shopping and waiting in line, you know, for the cashier, and so it's been very interesting. It's been a very interesting experience learning all of those things, or like random conversations like that, conversations with friends, conversations with family members, and conversations with God and myself. I realize the most important relationship that I have is with God and my soul. I realized with all these experiences that I've had with my parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, friends, co-workers, students and their parents, my clients, random strangers. I've learned with all of those experiences, I've learned that my lessons are supposed to be through relationships. This is how I'm going to learn, because I feel so much, because I'm a person who feels so much. I feel things so much that that's the only way I'm going to learn it, even if it's repeated over and over and over again, either with the same person or with different people. If I don't learn it with one person one way, I'm going to learn it with another person in another way. It's going to be the same lesson. And so this beautiful door opened for me in 2011, and I have just been constantly working on self. I was able to take a step back and observe, as if I'm a person looking in from the outside. And all the things that I've learned have been really hard. I had a relationship with a man that I met at 19 years old. He was 10 years older than me. And I was like over the moon, all goo goo gaga eyed over him, and the love of my life. That's what I really truly felt and believed. And slowly through the years, I realized that he was one of my greatest teachers. We are divorced for 2 years now, over 2 years. But I had to learn the hard way about self-respect, self-love, self-worth, valuing myself. It took a friend of mine, this beautiful soul, who opened this beautiful spiritual journey for me, this spiritual door for me. Ended up walking away from our friendship a year ago. And it hurt me. It was so gut-wrenching. But I learned a very valuable lesson. Because I had family members that estranged themselves with me, and I felt that they abandoned me. I felt that my ex-husband abandoned me emotionally. And then my friend who, we shared everything. She was my 3 a.m. phone call, my ride or die, even though neither one of us did anything crazy to like riding or dying for anything. But it was that kind of love and trust. And she taught me a very valuable lesson. And I felt like she abandoned me. And it took a little time. I got to visit a friend in Asheville, and that was very healing. And she gave me space to heal. That was very beautiful. And but I realized after returning home last summer, after that few days trip, I realized that I abandoned myself. All these lessons with my parents, siblings, family, and this, I realized that I abandoned myself, because nobody can do anything to you unless you give them your power to do so. And what a great, profound lesson that I learned. I mean, talk about a serious lesson. That was hard. It's hard to admit that I abandoned myself. Me, Sophia, a fun-loving music teacher, dance teacher, singer, performer, super sweet and kind to everybody as much as I can be, because that's just the way that I am. I'm just a being of love. I love to love. I love to love. And that brings me so much joy. Like, it brings me so much joy to see other people happy. That it brings me joy to see other people happy. Just to sit and observe the world and see it happy is a beautiful thing for me. I find joy in that. And yet here was these hard lessons, these hard pains, painful hurts through the years, and I realized that I abandoned myself. So I abandoned myself in my marriage. I abandoned myself as a member of my family. I abandoned myself with friendships, with maybe work-related relationships or experiences. That was very hard. But I can tell you that today I'm better for it. And, you know, the pandemic really going a little backwards. 2020 was definitely a year that we all can say we went through something. We all went through something. We all went through an experience. We all went through either finding real joys, like some of us were found our purposes in life, like changed careers completely. I mean, there's so many beautiful stories about that. So many people found that they were living a life that they weren't happy with. They were living a life with a person that they weren't happy with. There were a lot of breakups, a lot of, divorce. For me, my experience is that my marriage blew up in my face before that, right before that, in December of 2019. And that was very hurtful. And the pandemic, just, being confined in the same space and dealing with the stress of the pandemic and then the stress of the relationship, and really just, I guess the both of us not really seeing the full picture. Both of us in different levels of thinking about the marriage and everything, and the pandemic just didn't allow either one of us to really face each other. It was just a lot of bickering and a lot of fighting, which was very sad, and not much joy at all. And I did find myself in a vast ocean of darkness and depression. I can tell you that I went through that. I would see, like, it's not a joke, I would see like black chiffon veils, like moving slowly, like so there was a soft wind moving them on all my walls. And I was just like floating. I don't remember a lot of what I did. My only saving grace was continuing to teach the music students that I had virtually. They were my joys during that time, and also part of my healing. I can't thank them enough for that. They know who they are. I love them dearly. They will always hold a very special place in my heart. My students and my clients and friends that were able to still able to communicate with me, and we were just, that was just a very interesting time, and I learned a lot more about myself. And that's when I really went through that whole lesson of self-respect, self-love, self-worth. It took a while. My friend Vivi, who was my first guest, she taught me a beautiful lesson. It's like she gave me allowance to feel. She said to me, you have the right to feel whatever you're feeling. You have the right to take as long as you need to sit in those feelings. That's a gift. For someone to tell you that, that's a gift. That's such a blessing. And I'm forever, eternally grateful to her for that. And I've learned to be able to acknowledge feelings and pains and be able to give myself the time to decipher, to figure out, okay, why am I feeling this? What part do I have to play in that? What part did I have to play in that? Why am I feeling this way? And and to be able, with that, I was able to put compassion, empathy, understanding, and forgiveness to to everything else that's happened to me since then, because I was able to do that for myself with that experience of my relationship. So, you know, that's part of my soul journey, is the relationships, this very long lasting relationship. That was really hard. Then after the separation and all of that, I did meet someone, a divine counterpart, who taught me about self-respect, self-love, and self-worth even more, because I did get hurt and I had to learn how to really put myself first emotionally. Like, I love to love, but I really had to learn to love myself first. My relationship with myself is so important. That's more important than anything else, and my relationship with God. So I really learned to love myself and put myself first. And because of that, even though it took time, I was able to put resolve, and I was able to make decisions that were more beneficial for me. I mean, I can sit here and give you a timeline, and I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but this is what I just asked God to speak through me. So this is what I'm doing here. But that divine counterpart experience, as short as it was very impactful. And I am eternally grateful to him for that. And definitely what an experience of divine love. And I had to have the understanding that the home and the love that I felt, that divine home and love that I felt with a divine counterpart, is actually inside of me. That's inside of me. God is inside of me. His love, his light, his home is inside of me. And I had to learn that. And I'm better for it. I am better for it. And that's, again, also feeling abandoned by him as well, and learning, oh no, I abandoned myself. And then recently, in the last few months, my family members have taught me other lessons. And those lessons are that I wasn't honoring myself, and that I never really gave myself importance in any of my relationships. Not with my parents, not with my siblings, not with my personal relationships, not with my friends, not with work. I mean, subtly, it's all different levels, you know, of that. But I learned, that I didn't really give myself importance. That's another hard lesson too. All these lessons are hard. I had to learn to be strong, to be able to really look inside myself and really see all these things. Because, you know, I'm not perfect. God made me perfect, yes. I am perfectly imperfect because I am in human form. In soul form, I am perfect in his presence, you know, in the higher dimensions. God's love and light is so beautiful. I've seen it in a dream, and the feeling of home, and it's there. It's there that we are really complete. And so we're here to learn. So I had to learn that I am complete, and I'm allowed to make mistakes. Never said that I know everything. I don't think any of us really know everything all the time. I can't pretend to know it all. I can only share my experiences. And even in the wisdoms that I have learned through the years, I still, believe it or not, I'm still learning, even with those wisdoms. So what I ask is for me to hold on to these wisdoms so that I can, you know, carry them through you know, the rest of the days and years of my life here in this experience. And what a beautiful gift to meet like-minded souls. And I mean, when I first started the spiritual journey, when this door opened up for me beautifully, this beautiful soul introduced me to Five Sisters, a metaphysical store. Five Sisters, a spiritual journey, which is a metaphysical store here in Miami in the Falls area. And that is my spiritual community there. I've met so many beautiful teachers and healers and friends, just other spiritual beings, just a feeling of connection, of love there. And it is important. It is important to find your community. It's important to find people that do resonate with you and that you resonate with them, like-minded souls, but also having the open mind to hear, you know, different opinions or different beliefs, because that's the only way we're going to grow. It's just like visiting countries that are completely different ethnicities from mine or yours, and you end up growing. Your horizons are broadened because you now have an insight and a perspective of how someone who's very different from you sees the world, or sees life, sees culture, sees their spiritual beliefs or religious beliefs. But in the end, we all find out that we're all the same. We're all one. We're all connected. You know, we're connected with Mother Earth, we're connected with the houses and the buildings, the flowers, the cars. Everything is made from the earth. We are connected. We are all connected. We are the divine collective that is here, living here on earth, learning, and learning. I am so grateful to my mom because she gave me the gift of music. So when I graduated from high school, I started Miami-Dade, and I started as a business major. But my humanities teacher walked into the room one day, it was my first semester, and he just opened up a music book and started playing. Of course, I understood that he was sight reading. He was just, reading all this music and stuff. And I was so impressed with that. And so I was like, oh, do you give lessons? And I don't think he really understood that I wanted lessons with him, but he had directed me to go see the head of the music department at Miami-Dade in downtown campus. So I went to see Dr. Beverly Coulter, and I made it like an appointment to audition for, piano lessons. And my mom and my grandmother then convinced me to audition for voice. So I was like, okay, I'll see if I can make an appointment for that on another day, because I only made an appointment for piano. So I go in, I see Dr. Coulter, and God bless her, I play piano, and I was, nervous. I was 18 years old, and I remember it was spring going into summer, and I said, oh, my mom and my yaya, my grandma, they said I should also audition for voice lessons. I'm happy to make an appointment with you. She's like, well, do you have anything prepared? And I said, no, not really. I was really preparing only for the piano. And she said, all right, do you know the Star Spangled Banner? I said, yes, I do. And I sang it for her. She gave me one note, and I started from there, and I sang it a cappella. And I guess I sang it in tune for the most part, because she was like, all right, then we're just going to sign you up for both piano and voice lessons. And the journey just started. And that was like spring and summer. You know how those are, those like 6 weeks for like summer session 1, or spring, however it was, spring session, and then summer session. And then the fall came, and she signed me up for music theory and ear training and sight singing and Wolfson singers. And and it was a beautiful journey for that. And I remember that was in 1990, and that's where I met my ex-husband. So I was just a fresh 19-year-old when I met him. And I'm telling you, like, it took two and a half years, or 2 years from that moment, like that spring and summer, but I was 2.5 years at Miami-Dade. So here it is, it's May of 1992. And I go in to get an override from my counselor because I was taking, business statistics. I was taking all the regular classes, and I'm going to try to make this long story short. And, the English, all the requirements, and music classes, and dance classes, and aerobics, and Wolfson Singers, and this and that. So I would go and I would be taking like 24 to 28 credits a semester. So go get an override. And the counselor was like, wait a minute, don't leave. And I was like, okay. I'm like, what? Did I do something wrong? She's like, no, wait. I said, okay. And then she says, so are you a business major or a music major? And I was like, I don't know, why? She's like, well, after these classes that you're signing up for, you're ready to graduate and receive an Associate of Arts degree in music education, in both in piano and voice. And I said, and business? And she's like, you've got another like year and a half to go with business. I said, well, and I guess music it is, because obviously that's what I was focusing on. So, we made the change, and I was like, I thought it just happened naturally. She goes, no, honey, you have to come in and you got to like make the change and don't leave. I'm going to get the paperwork for you. God bless her, because she saw that. So something in her told her to have that conversation with me. And I got my AA later that summer, and right before Hurricane Andrew. And what a beautiful gift. And nobody told me that I had to like audition for university to continue education, to get a bachelor's or whatever. But what a blessing though in disguise. Things happen for you, not to you, because Hurricane Andrew hit like a couple weeks later, and it was devastating. So we had to relocate to Hialeah, and I started taking voice lessons with a new teacher at South Dade campus and Miami-Dade, Kendall campus, and she was just fantastic with me. Eileen Duffy, God bless you. She introduced me to Bronwyn. Bronwyn was my accompanist. I even used to babysit for Bronwyn with her kids, and just what a beautiful like collaboration. So they helped me for my audition to get into University of Miami. I remember it was January of 1993. I walk in, we audition. I felt really good. They wanted me to start right away, and I was was applying for scholarship. I didn't get the scholarship, but I was very happy that I did start in the fall of 93, because I had time to prepare in every way, to go to university. So I went to University of Miami, and the U. Woo-hoo. So love being a Hurricane, very proud. My mom graduated from there too in English Lit, and so did my uncle, her brother. So it's all good, and so I'm very proud to be a Cane, and I learned a lot there too, and and because of that, I get to do what I do today. It took a long journey to get here. I didn't have a car after I graduated in 1996, so I was just trying to find jobs, from the train and the bus. What would Metro Transit? How can I find a job through transportation? And that's where I would meet strangers and just have like very in-depth conversations for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and be like life impacting. I would never see them again, and that's like, wow, that's those always stay with me. I can see their faces, and I can even remember some of those conversations. And I remember what I remember more than anything else is the feeling, how they made me feel. That is so important, because in the end of the day, it's not what we do, it's not what we learn. I mean, kind of, yes, but it's how we make others feel. And so it's a huge responsibility for me to make sure that I do good, that I allow myself, because now it has to be me too. The experience has to be great for me too. That's what my voice teacher, Sheila Barish, always teaches me. It's not just about like the audience or my students or everyone in my life, making them feel good or them having a great experience. It's also me having a great experience as the teacher, the performer, the human, and the spiritual being. And so it's not what we do, it's how we make others feel. So it is so important to me that me included and everyone else feel safe, we can feel trust, make beautiful memories. I have the opportunity to share the magic of music and dance with children of all ages practically. It's a beautiful gift that I've been able to do throughout the years. That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I found my purpose is teaching. And in this teaching, I use music and dance. Yes, those are the tools, the skills that I teach, but I teach them to allow themselves to trust themselves, that they can be anything that they want to be, that you and me and everyone, we are all special and beautiful. We are all unique. We are all our own unicorns. We are all like this very rare diamond. This very rare diamond that no one can buy. It is so valuable that the richest person on earth cannot afford it. And what makes that diamond so unique, so rare, so priceless is all the flaws that are inside of it. And that's what each and every one of us are. It's like that rare, priceless diamond. We are perfectly imperfect. And what a beautiful thing. We are all different. None of us are the same. We cannot be replicated. We cannot be duplicated. These are also the lessons that I've learned through teaching. Teaching has been a wonderful place of school for me. I'm a teacher. Yes, I teach after school. I teach children, teens, and adults music and dance through the years. But let me tell you something. Even in my being a teacher and in my teachings, I'm also at the same time a student. And my students, my clients, they are my teachers. The people in my personal life, they are my teachers. It is a beautiful thing. It's very interesting how that works. It's like a flow of energy. And so I allow myself to be open, to be a student, at the same time teaching. And I ask every day or every other day, to God, when I'm really just being in the present moment, I ask God for me to be a vessel and an instrument of all of his beautiful, beautiful divine blessings, that may they shine, may they beam inside me so that they can shine and gleam through me. Because it's so important. Because what I do, even the mistakes that I make, even if I do something wrong, I own up to it. I tried very hard to put understanding with other people. If I did something wrong, I apologize. Even if it was not my intention to do wrong, I still apologize, because if something that I said or did, even though it was very innocent on my part, made someone else feel uncomfortable, then I am sorry for that. I truly am. Because, it's about all of us being able to learn from these things. There's a lot of us that go around that those things happen. We may say something that maybe just didn't sit right with somebody, or made someone feel anxious or confused even. Maybe it's not our intention to do that, but we can still be apologetic about it, because that's showing kindness, that's showing wisdom, that's being evolved and seeing the other person. We all want to be seen, but we also have to see others too. It's a two-way street. That's a two-way street. Other lessons. And I really learned that um, to a great level when I started teaching. I mean, I was already doing that naturally, but I think that teaching really allowed that door to open up for me. It's, it's not just about how this or that makes me feel. It's how does this or that make my students feel, the people around me, those that are in my life, that's a journey. That's another, journey. I've had beautiful, beautiful teachers in my life that have taught me many beautiful lessons. My voice teacher, mentor, and friend, Sheila Barish, love you so much. She shares wisdoms with me, and I share them with my students and whoever. Her mom used to say, we're not guaranteed our next breath. We're not guaranteed our next inhalation or exhalation. That kind of like makes us put things in perspective, doesn't it? It's like, wow. So then, how can I be at my full best? And it's not going to happen all the time, 24/7. That's impossible, because let's face it, we're here learning. So we're not going to be at 110% all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not going to happen. But we can share our experiences. We can allow ourselves to give ourselves some slack, like it's okay to be a work in progress. It's okay that we're going through whatever we're going through. It's okay if we give ourselves time to allow ourselves the time that we need to process things. It's so important. So my soul journey has been about that, I think, really more than anything. It's been learning all the lessons that I needed to learn through relationships. Singing is something that is so very important to me. It took almost 5 decades of life, but this is my, like, I don't know if it's not my mantra, but this is like my my discoveries. This is my discoveries of who I am. Okay? So music is my passion. Dance is my fuel. Singing is my life force. And teaching is my purpose. And under that umbrella of all of these beautiful things is room for creating, writing, collaborating, choreographing. I love creating. Oh my gosh. And so what a beautiful insight that finally, that it all dawned on me. And all of them are interrelated. One does not stand alone without the other. In January of 2000, I made my first steps into studying Middle Eastern dance. Miami-Dade Community College was offering belly dance classes, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go learn Greek-style belly dance. Okay. Oh, I can't wait. I know I'm backtracking, but here we go. Let me tell you, definitely that's not what happened. I went in there, and it was learning Egyptian-style belly dance, or Middle Eastern dance, raqs sharqi, and it opened up a beautiful door for me. Now, this was 11 years before my spiritual door was open. And that, I cannot talk enough or say enough about how, for the first time in my life, I was able to really get in touch with Sophia. Even though I was doing music, I had already graduated from University of Miami with a bachelor's of music and vocal performance, studied both opera and musical theater. I was teaching music. I was doing odd jobs And, you know, I was doing actually, no, I wasn't teaching music at the time. I was doing jobs in corporate America. I was finding a way to like also work from home, to make money, to pay bills. I hadn't yet brought music back into my life. And I go into this class, and it was more than just a dance class. It was a beautiful door that opened in the culture of the dance, the people of the dance. The music was very beautiful. It did make me reminded me of Greek music. There was a lot of nostalgia. Those first few classes, I was always crying because I just felt like home. So it kind of reminded me of Greek music, but it was different from Greek music as well. But I felt home. And I know that in a past life, that music was a part of my life. I feel that we are all connected, interconnected. Everything is interconnected. And I'm still in the dance. It has taught me many beautiful lessons that really taught me how to empower myself, to accept myself. I've always been a big girl. I was a lot bigger then too, like in terms of my body weight. But my love and my vivaciousness for life is still bigger. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this podcast, actually. So anyway, but doing those classes and being a part of that community, because I ended up being a part of a community, that was just like a beautiful thing. But it taught me how to empower myself and to accept myself and my body physically as I am. And that is so empowering. And that also allowed me to accept the beauty within myself. That also was like, it was as if God was planting seeds for me, but I wasn't quite getting that spiritual door. Like, look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful of self. That didn't really hit me until 11 years later when I met this beautiful soul. And then 11 years after that, in 2022, is when I met the divine counterpart. 1111. Wow. That's, I find that interesting. I'm all about numbers. People who know me they're like, oh, there goes Sophia again with the numbers. But it's true. The synchronicity of numbers. And so 11 is a very spiritual and powerful number. It stands for positive changes happening in your life. Stay focused and positive. More importantly, you are one with the universe and God. We are all one. So it's not just what we do here, the decisions we make, how we live our lives. It doesn't just affect us and the people around us and the human collective. It also has an effect on the divine collective, on the universe. Because the universe is constantly expanding. But 11, there you go. Such a beautiful number. And that's a synchronicity of paths that I walked through. So, there's community. There's community of your family, your friends, school when you go to school, and the friends that you make and create, which I'm so grateful for through that. Then I found community in the belly dance world, and a little bit in the flamenco world. That kind of came into my path too, and I fell in love with that. And then it was the spiritual community. It's my music community. And I do different things, but I do all these different things, and that's what makes me whole. I remember going through a time where it was like, oh, I need to brand myself, and oh, I need to just focus on one thing and become a master at that. And I just couldn't do that. And I realized that was actually a realization. And I realized, but that's not me. The sum of me is all these things. And I don't have to be perfect and a master at everything. I just have to feel right about everything that I'm doing. And what I learn, I teach. And I continue to learn. And so every time that I learn something new, and everything that I learn, I teach. Whether it's a spiritual teaching, a music teaching, a dance teaching, a life lesson teaching, whatever it is, I continue to teach it. What a beautiful thing. Yeah, that's that was really big eye-opening for me, you know? So for any of you out there, if you're still listening to this podcast and watching me, thank you so much. It's true. Like, we don't have to be just one thing. You know why? As I learned later on, because we are multi-dimensional beings. And because we are multi-dimensional beings, we are layered. So, of course, there are many different things within us that we can do. For me, it's the performing arts. And I have found, you know, my love and my passion in there, and my path and my journey and my life purpose. What a beautiful thing. Even I have found community in community theater, and what a beautiful, I have found and made beautiful friends through community theater. I am so grateful. I have learned from them, and I have been able to find myself again through community theater, which is a big blessing, because everything's been a roller coaster. You know, well, I can only speak about me. I've gone through a lot of things in the last 10 years. So when I think back about 10 years, well, why did I start even doing that? There is a spiritual healer by the name of Ana Maria Pineda, who I am eternally grateful for as well. And I would go see her, maybe 2-3 times in a year at Five Sisters back in the day before COVID. And she would say, well, where do you see this relationship? Where do you see your life and your path 5 years from now? Close your eyes and take this moment to think about that. Where do you see it in 5 years? And where do you see it in 10 years? And I would take that moment. I would open my eyes and have tears in my eyes, because I saw me sitting in the same angst, in the same pains, dealing with the same issues in 5 or 10 years. And so then after a while of, I learned that from her. I learned many things from her. During COVID, she did angel circles through Zoom, and I had beautiful healing experiences through that, and that really helped me to heal and get out of that dark pool of depression and sadness that I was sitting in. But let me tell you, now I go, okay, where was I 10 years ago? And 10 years ago, in the fall, I found out that I got pregnant, and shortly after, had a miscarriage. I was 44 years old, and it was heartbreaking. It was the most heartbreaking thing that I ever went through. It really was. Because I felt so guilty. I felt so guilty because I was fighting with my ex-husband at the time we were married. And I thought that because we were fighting, I lost the baby. And I held so much guilt inside of me for that. 5 years later, COVID hits, the pandemic hits, and they're all talking about, blood types. I was like, oh, I wonder, am I O negative? Because when I went to the hospital, I didn't know that I was miscarrying, but I was definitely bleeding a lot. I I was losing the baby, but I figured because I was older that I was just, like having a period, but I was in pain, and I was doing everything I could to like be mentally positive that I'm keeping this baby. I was in denial, really. That's what the truth was. But they gave me a ROGAM shot, and I didn't understand why they gave me that. So I come to find that I was O negative. Oh, wow, I was O negative. Then I started doing research on that. Well, what happens when, the female is O negative and gets pregnant by a male who is not O negative? And really, the chances of survival of that child, that baby, is very, very slim. And so because of science and that discovery, I was able to forgive myself. Took 5 years to do that, though. Almost 5 years. I had forgiven myself to a degree, but that was like the cherry on the cake, or on the sundae. That helped me to do that. Like I said, all these different lessons, and that was very freeing. Forgiveness is freedom. That's when I learned how to forgive myself. I was 4.5 years in this spiritual door opening for me and in that spiritual journey. And that's when I learned how to forgive myself, was through that. It did bring me and my family closer together, which was a beautiful blessing. And I will always look at the 4 me's and not the 2 me's. But learning to forgive self is so important. It's so important because when you can forgive yourself, this is my experience, you can forgive others. You can forgive others who have hurt you, or others who have dismissed you, others who like do things that to you would never think. I could never behave that way. How could somebody be that way? But you can forgive that. You can forgive that behavior. You can forgive that person. Just the little things to the big things, you're able to do it. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is a freedom that I cannot tell you is like amazing. It is amazing. It's one of the most amazing things you will ever experience. Forgiving yourself, then you can forgive others, because you have to forgive yourself for feeling like a fool. You have to forgive yourself for trusting. You have to forgive yourself for allowing yourself to either love or care or get, like swept into whatever it was that you found yourself in. And you just have to forgive yourself, because those are the lessons. And so when you're able to do that and see it from that perspective, that was what happened with me. I was able to see that that was the perspective I was able to see things with. As my neighbor honks, that's like exclamation points. As I was able to forgive myself for these things, I was able to forgive the other person or persons for hurting me, or the situation. Sometimes it's not even a person, it's just a situation. You find yourself in a situation. It's like, wow, how did I find myself in this situation? Well, what is the for me then? So, okay, let me see, what is the for me? And that's what you do. That's what I did. I was able to look at the for me. All right. And I was able to put the mirror up and go, okay, what is my responsibility here? What did I do? What is not just the lesson, but where do I have to take accountability? Where did I go wrong? It's hard. It's hard for us to admit when we're wrong. I already know that. I learned that a long time ago. And it is hard. But when we're wrong, we're wrong. When someone else is wrong, yeah, they're wrong. But them being wrong and you being wrong doesn't make a right. Like all the things that my mom used to tell me, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Absolutely. That is correct. And so yeah, I have to like, sometimes, you know, the ego takes us forward, and it's like a Pegasus unicorn. It's just like running and flying us, right? That ego is like running like this fast as a horse. And then we got to do all that we can to go, no. So I allow the unicorn in me to go, no, take a step back. Okay. And the fairies help. So I do believe they exist. Fairies and unicorns, they absolutely exist. And they help us take the reins back a little bit and go, okay, let's sit in this for a moment or 2 or 3 or 500 moments, whatever it takes. Let's look at this. And that's when I am able to go, okay, this is where I went wrong. And of course I feel bad. I feel very bad. And I do all the work within me. I have learned in the last 2 years, actually it's been a year, the Opopono, I think it's what it's called. It's the Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness. This is a beautiful prayer. I say it for myself, and then I say it for the person, or whatever situation, and the situation too, for the whatever person that I feel hurt by or that I have hurt, and the situation. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. What powerful words. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Wow. Wow. Powerful. Freedom. So I say that for myself, to help me forgive myself. And then it allows me to do that for the other person or the situation. That's been a great lesson for me. That's been a great lesson for me. And that's powerful. It's powerful in a spiritual way, not powerful in a human way, you know, like, oh, now I can just be whatever. No, it's powerful because for me anyway, my experience, I can only share my experience, is that it allows me to look at the bigger picture. You know, sometimes I go through stuff, the day-to-day stuff, and then I kind of like do this like turnabout within myself, and I go, you know what? I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I may not be feeling really good and great right now about this or that, but I am doing really great, because compared to other people in the world, I'm living in paradise. And it's true. There are other people in the world that are suffering, children who are losing their parents. There's war, there's famine, there is genocide, there's all this stuff happening around the world. And here I am in Palmetto Bay, Florida, being able to do this, film a video podcast special that I created on YouTube called Soul Journey Talk. I mean, I'm in great gratitude. So I practice that every day. So all of these things lead me to where I'm at today. It's all these beautiful lessons, blessings. I think I wanted to say lessons and blessings at the same time. Blessings. And it's true. It's the perspective. It's the perspective. There's a lot of us that are we're doing fine. Yeah, we're going through our own thing. And it doesn't mean that what we're going through should be undermined or diminished. It doesn't mean that it's not important. It's just putting things in perspective. You know, when we're going through really hard stuff, yes, that's hard. We're going through it. But the day-to-day little things here and there, there's a bigger picture here, you know? And what are other people going through? And that's when I start praying for the world. I pray for world peace. I pray for all of us to really, truly become one as a human race, because we are one. We're all the same. We all have the love and the light from divine God, creator. God made me with his love and light. So God lives inside of me, and therefore God is in me and I am in God. That's what I believe. We are all divine love and light. We are all divine love and light. You know? I want to wrap this up because I know time has been going. I have no clue, even if my phone is still videotaping this, but this is a one-woman show today. So I am now filming this episode on my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra phone. The last two episodes were filmed with my Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus phone. That became a tongue twister. So so we'll see, because this is my first time actually doing more than 5 minutes of filming with the microphone. It's still working. I see the green light. Okay, we're good. And but I do want to wrap this up. It's I know I jumped here and there and everywhere regarding like my journey, the lessons, but that's what life is, though, isn't it? Sometimes we feel like, oh, we want to move forward, but we take like 5 steps back and we can only like make 1 step forward. But it's that 1 step forward that we're taking that we can focus on. Sheila Barish, I love you. Another wisdom that she shared with me. We are moving forward. The journey, the path in life is not straight. Not a straight path. It curves and it goes and it winds. But as long as we focus forward, we're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We're going to reach that destination. We're going to reach that destination when we're supposed to reach that destination. Divine timing, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, all of these expressions that we say, but it's true. It's very true. It is so very true. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. That gives me peace, and I hope that brings you peace. To know that even though we feel like we're going backwards, we're really moving forward. It was just that the road is winding, and it's going like to the left, and then it's going to the right. This is my right. And it's going to the left, and it's going like this. But it is moving forward. We will reach our destination. And sometimes we do have the power in regards to certain situations or certain things, whether we're going to get there faster or slower. And then there are other times that it's like we're pushing and pushing and pushing, and we still find ourselves like stuck or like in the same place, or moving a little backwards, and then only moving like 1 step back, 2 steps forward. 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Because of divine timing. Sometimes we just have to allow. We do our part and we just allow for that to happen. That's also hard. All of these are hard. Hard lessons. It's not a joke. I've had to learn hard lessons in life. But at the same time, my life has been better than others. And so I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that I get to sit here in front of my favorite tree and share with you my story. I want to thank you so much for watching to all this up to this point. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I have 5 cards. So we always end the session with picking a card. So I was like, well, I have to do the same thing too then. And but my to end things here, verbally, this discussion, this conversation that I'm having with you, it's you, me, and the phone. And That's been my hardcore lessons in life have been through relationships. And I've had beautiful joys and beautiful heartbreaks and heartaches. But I'm always looking for the joy. Joy is the secret ingredient. And I want to share that with you as well. So remember, you are your own unicorn. You are that rare diamond, perfectly imperfect. Because of those flaws, you are perfectly imperfect. And that's what makes you priceless. You cannot be duplicated, neither replicated. You are unique, you are special, you are one of a kind. And joy is the secret ingredient. Keep following through. Keep following through. All right, we're going to take our card now. Let me see. I have 7 stacks. Let me see what number comes to mind. And 4 is in my mind, so I'm going to go with 4. I'm going to shuffle them a little bit because I haven't even had a chance to do that. Yeah, just shuffle it. It's been a beautiful experience being here today with you. It was supposed to pour rain, and I took the chance of just setting up and coming out here and you know, talking with you and filming. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do it, you know? Let's just do the filming and see what happens, you know? Haha. Classic. That flew out. Classic. So I'm supposed to tell you what this, like the first thing that comes to mind. Classic. That's actually an expression that I use a lot lately. Like, you know, if something happens, I'm like, classic Sophia, classic me. So classic Sophia, that she took her time, you know, shuffling, and took her time, you know, talking, and classic. It also reminds me of elegance, reminds me of, makes me think of classic Sophia. I'm here with my sunflower dress, the sunflower in my hair. I'm looking at my sunflower wreath on my door. The sunshine, the sun is out. Even though I'm in the shade, but the sun is here. Yeah. And it's a beautiful and wonderful gift to be with you here today, to be here. Fall equinox, classic, classic. Today is the fall equinox. It is September 22nd, 2025. And it has been my unique blessing and joy to be here today with you in my front yard garden, in front of my most favorite tree. Classic, because this is where I love to like sit. I think you can see in the frame the part of the bench. That's where I sit and I look out and I just allow myself to sit in Mother Nature. Classic, classic spot. And it's classic of me to do the Greek long goodbye. So this is another classic thing. Classic. I was curious about what my word was going to be. And classic. In that word is class. And here's another class for you and for me and for the divine collective. That also comes to mind. Classic. God bless all of you. Please know that this is only for entertainment purposes. I am not a licensed therapist. And so by law, I have to say that to you. You are responsible for your interpretations of this video. And whatever it is that I'm sharing with you, please use responsibly. I'm looking forward to sharing with you my winter my winter session. It may be me again. Maybe we'll dive into more specific lessons, specific happenings or journeys in my discovery of self. And, or we'll be with somebody else. I don't know. So I am very happy for me to be the guest on my 3rd episode of my 1st season. Thank you so much for being here. I am in great gratitude to you, to God and my angels and my spiritual army. And may the blessings of fall equinox be showered upon you abundantly, as you also deserve. Mwah. See you in the winter. Bye now.